Why, good morning, you beautiful souls. We are diving into our early Wednesday satsang because I have a busy evening and afternoon. So, we still want to give that opportunity to practice heart coherence. And one of the coolest things about the meditation and little trick that we're going to really dabble into is really coming back to our center. It's this practice that is allowing us to always maintain that equilibrium and harmony, no matter the situation that's going to be arising. And it's going to be incredibly important because as the kind of group consciousness energies get a little bit more amped up and intense, it's going to be really important for us to always be able to come back to our center. Now, these previous songs, if you haven't yet, check them out because it's all about coming to understand your light and harnessing that radiant abundance of your divine energy, which is heart coherence, coming to understand what your greatest generator and power center really is. And it's love, baby. So, in the spirit of that, we're going to come back to that ground of being, that pureness, that radiant home that is the backdrop of all experience. And that is our center point of equilibrium. When we come back in the component of what is love, it's that openness, it's that effortlessness, it's that ease and allowance of things to be. So, with that, I lovingly invite you into that space of the heart. When you hear the first 3 taps of the singing bowl, give yourself the opportunity to take a nice deep inhale with each sound of the bell as it rings. And as you exhale, transform that breath into a powerful and mighty Om. Ensure you lower the jaw, relaxing the mouth so that A note can resonate from the chest. And as you close the mouth, the U and the M will form naturally. And as always, I lovingly invite you into this space of the heart, the throne of the soul, home. Give yourself the opportunity to check in now, to observe the state of the body, the energies around you, within you, and the subtle thought forms that may be coming and going or absent altogether. The most important thing to remember here is that this practice is a being. Do not allow yourself to get caught up in the patterns of efforting or doing. Whatever arises within your inner experience or around you is a natural phenomena. Pay it no attention. Give your full focus and sense of awareness to the witness, that knower, or that being we all come to understand as I am. And when you hear this final tap of the singing bowl, shift your attention fully to the sound of the bell as it rings. And again, allow that note to simply fade. As you hear the tap, shift your attention fully to the sound. And as we begin this practice of coming back to our center, allow the natural dust to settle within your own beingness. Take a deep breath in, slow and steady. Fill up the body with as much air, prana, and chi as you can. When you feel like the body is full, squeeze in a few more breaths. Then simply rest. The first recognition to understand and fully dive into is the fact that everything is energy. When the body is ready, allow the breath to release and continue this slow and deep rhythmic breathing, bringing yourself back to that state of filled air, holding it as long as you can comfortably before slowly releasing it, telling the body to take over the breath. It's in these first patterns that we come to allow our own energies to settle. Again, everything is energy. So when we look at the world in this knowing, everything you do is some form of an exchange. Every gaze met with another is but a subtle exchange of energy. Every word spoken to, every word received is yet another exchange of energy. From the sounds the body hears to the wind it feels against its skin, everything is in communication with one another. Everything is interconnected. For again, all is energy. And when we stem from this divine knowing of oneness, that all sparks from this great experience we call life, stemming from the eternal fire, there is a point of connection with each and every being, always. Many of us are becoming to understand these intangible yet very tangible knowings, for the world is more interconnected than it has ever been. But in truth, it is only caught up to the energetic and truly spiritual truths that have anchored us in this reality for eons. And that is, we have always been connected. It is simply the technologies in the material world that are catching up to these eternal truths. Rather, we are finally starting to express what is already known within the depths of our souls. Yet, with this understanding of connectedness, we must recognize that there is a great opportunity, yet also a great risk. For when we are not able to personally understand our own realm of energy, when we have no understanding of what our own base note is, or center point of harmony, then we will always be lost in the wake of the world and the emotions around us, the energies that come and go, the temporary that is always in states of change. Yet here, this heart coherence, this recognition of your center point, your harmonious state of balance, comes back with that recognition of what all is. It brings us back to you. Most importantly, it brings us back home to that loving light, which is the importance of understanding our own heart space, coming to see the subtleties in everything. So as you continue to breathe, how has the body changed since you practiced? How is the body changing since you started today? One can look at how they felt lost and thrown about in the seas in the early parts of their spiritual path or this inner looking. And one could look at how they are right now today. The path of self absorption leads to the path of self awareness naturally. And in this path of self awareness, we come to be self masters. So finally and fully own your space, own your light, and come to understand intimately what it means to be you. And just as this world is the effect or the reaction to the energies, we must understand that all physical happenings start first in the ethereal, energetic, astral, mental planes. Simply put, the intangible, that which is not seen. So every action has a reaction, but come to understand every causal force arises in this energetic plane, primarily, and as always, first. So, what is the state of your heart now? Heart coherence is simply self awareness for this throne of the soul. So, how do you feel naturally? Look at the subtleties of your experience. When are you having the most fun? When are you in that state of calm and peace most often? Whether it be in action or simply right when you wake up before the script and the play begin, we can see that there are many opportunities where we can truly see and witness, firsthand experience, and know the feeling of what it means to be in harmony within ourself. And there's much importance and stress to be put on this understanding of your own energetic field, because it is that tool that will take you into a realm of reflection of your true nature, being unmovable, being infinite, being powerful, being love. You become that rock in the river that no matter what happens and arises around you, it simply flows. And in this time of great transition and transformation on this collective whole, we must recognize that the wakes, the waves, the tensions, the energetic shifts will be observed by those on this path of self awareness and self mastery. And because you are becoming more aware of yourself, and in this sense, our heart coherence is leveling up, we will come to quickly understand that the energies and the shifts arising are not solely arising within us, but in truth, the whole. This will make everything so much more clear as the shifts are going on. This will give you so much more peace of mind and clarity, knowing that these energies in which you are seeing are not yours. In truth, it is heart coherence that is of the utmost importance for each being to develop, because it's this realm of the heart which perceives all of the emotions and the energy stemming from each and every one's soul. These callings, these cravings, these yearnings of the heart. So come to understand that it is your sovereign right to always have a peaceful home, to always have a ground of being that is rooted and anchored in that center, harmonious, loving light. And when we're not, we've so often felt and experienced what arises: an overloading of emotions, an overwhelmed mind, a tense body. But most importantly, it's this energetic load, this weight that weighs the heart down, that makes us feel heavy, drained, disconnected, tension filled. So come back to the knowing of what is, that you are love, that you are light, that your sense of self is derived from the Creator. And at any point, if you feel like the energies are too much, that you are being pulled away from your center, cast all burdens to that Christ within and become free. Say it to yourself if necessary: I cast all burdens to the Christ within and become free. For it is this ground of being in which you are in control of, in which you have influence of, and it is only your ground of being in which you have such ability to control and manipulate. This is why it matters not what happens around you, but what arises within you. This is the beauty. This is the power of our own heart. It is a force field. It is a filter. It is a mirror. And it is a guiding light. And oh, so much more. And ultimately, it is our compass, which is why it's of the most importance, we come back to this harmonious state of knowing, of what is it like to be when we are simply radiating and dancing to our own light and tune. So simply rest in your own beingness. Marinate in the feeling of your own energy in its base state. The quiet, the calm, the tensionless, the happy, the lightness. Again, we must look even at the activities in our day-to-day lives that bring us back to this point of inner harmony. What states of your being are the ones that bring you into the states of calm, of stillness? And the most important thing to remind yourself here is that it is an allowance of your own doing that causes these experiences to arise, these knowings to be known. We can always claim that it's an external action or an external happening, but in truth, it is the inner world, it is the inner governor that determines what will be adhered to and what will be rejected, what will be accepted and what will be denied. So, although we have many outlets that will bring us each to this point of inner harmony, we must recognize that it is something that we all have the capacity to do for anything if we allow it. And that is the beauty of this knowing of the heart, is that the heart never leaves you. You can't live without it. So the outlets and the roads, the doorways to this inner knowing and calm are always available. But it's the external that we use to justify, that we use as our excuse or reasoning to take us off of our own center. So with the next breath, draw in that loving knowing that you are the God and goddess in your own life, that you are a God and goddess of creation and manifestation, and that your kingdom is within. That is your realm of influence. That is your realm of control. And this recognition of personal sovereignty is the fundamental component behind true heart coherence, is that each and every being is liberated and free to do as they choose already. That the pictures that we paint in life are done through the many brushes of love that we have for the varying expressions and outlets that are within it. So always bring yourself to the breath, our first paintbrush in this divine life. For all it takes is but a single moment to return home, a subtle second of fully letting go of whatever it is we're holding on to come back into that state of peace, dropping whatever assumption or past pain into the eternal now and observing that bliss, that divine light, that knowing of love that is ourselves and all around. And when you're able to return back to this center, no matter what arises, that road home is always available. So simply come back to this knowing of what your home feels like. And remember that timeless saying that home is where the heart is. For as long as you carry that light of your own knowing consciously into every action and every breath, the shine of your own divinity will be that protective layer to keep you in harmony always. And although there may be times in which things seem insurmountable, that people seem draining, that no matter what arises, you will be anchored to that divine knowing of your center. When you hear the next tap of the singing bowl, take a full and deep breath, drawing in that loving light. And as you exhale, transform and transmute those energies into a powerful and mighty Om. As your proclamation to yourself to come back home to the center at every chance you get, with every breath and every slice of now. To remain in that knowing of the heart, to remain perfectly balanced. And in the states when life is seemingly throwing you off that center point, that you can return home with enthusiasm and love. Namaste. I bow to the divine within you. And thank you so much for tapping in this impromptu early Wednesday satsang. And most importantly, I always hope that these pointers, that these offerings can bring some light into whatever it is that's going on in your life right now. I know that this was a theme that has come up personally and has come up with some students as of late. And it's kind of a collective pattern I'm starting to see, which is one of the reasons why heart coherence was the theme this month of September. And for those that missed out on the previous satsangs, it's to ready each and every one of us that is already on this path to be able to not only maintain our light when there is going to inevitably be a lot of dark tensions and shadows around the collective, but also to remain safe during these times of transition and transformation. I feel that there is a lot of us who are in this, path of life of service, of healing. And because of that, the ones that are kind of on the front lines that are already receiving these informations are going to be getting a lot more. And it can be really stressful. It can be really lonely. It can be really intense. And that's just because there's a lot of energies coming through. And when we're not fully able to discern what is us internally and what is the external influences my body and my energy are picking up on, then it becomes this very tumultuous and oftentimes negative event that you start to attach to the negative energies and identify with them and personalize them, and then they become yours. So you go through this experience where you're really just, the first boat with the light driving through the fog. And because you're getting caught up in the fog, you forget that you're the light. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to practice this in the next coming days. And I'm sure a lot of us have already been tested in this sense, but there's going to be a great challenge approaching all of us And it's going to be, can we hold our light when it seems like everything else is falling around apart, or like falling apart around us? Um, and that's just something that's been coming through as a theme and a pattern. So I know if I'm feeling these energies, it's a lot of others are feeling these energies too. So I hope that this practice can really help you have some practical application for spiritual concepts and spiritual tools, because I know personally I greatly utilized this one when I was going through those early periods of having to interact with family and close loved ones, when I was going through a lot of my awakenings. And it was at a point where the knowing wasn't really fully adhered to or known in that assimilation that it is me. And I would find myself getting caught up in old patterns of other people and energies when they would play out. And I started to not be okay with that, because I didn't like what would come up within myself and how I would feel after, and all the different just energies when, when negative things are happening, it's very draining, it's very heavy and sticky. So for me, it was okay, well, like, how can I be more on my A game? How can I not fall back in that trap? And then it was the recognition and the downloads of the energetic component to things. You are your own, like, think about yourself like a cell. You're your own nucleus, that's your heart. You have your cellular wall, that's your body, and everything in between. But we're always picking up feedback from others. And if we're not aware of our own energy and what that state of harmony is like, we're always going to be susceptible to the energies of other people. And then that is unintentional most of the times. So, again, I hope that this little tool of spiritual stuff can help you in our month of heart coherence, so that you can remain that light you are. And most importantly, keep doing you. And if you haven't yet, bring yourself the opportunity each day to create some space where you can consciously feel your energy. And as you go out into the day, you can utilize that tool to practice your intuitional understanding of your energy and other people's energies, where certain thought forms might come in. Well, who was around you? And you can do it as a little experiment if you're in situations very frequently where you're always having to go into an environment where there's people that are maybe not as self aware as you. And they're, a lot more life of chaos and weird energies. So I hope you can utilize it. I hope you can practice it. And would definitely say that the faster and quicker you do it, the more that you try to apply it, the easier it gets observed. And just like any other muscle, the stronger it gets. So your intuition will start to be a little bit more on point, where you will know very clearly what energy is not yours and what is. And that's the cool aspect about this, is because it almost gives you a new sense of perception that you didn't have before. So there's a lot of potential with it, but the biggest thing here is that it protects you, plain and simple. It protects you from taking on too much. So yeah, been the reminder of my life. So with that, may the fruit of knowledge offer a seed, and in that seed may your love, will, and intuition give life and nourishment, for a tree shall grow, and in its shade may you find peace, and offer peace to all whom ask. Namaste. I bow to the divine within you. I love you so much. Thank you for tapping in this impromptu early satsang, and take care. I love you so much. Peace.